I'd like to call to order council meeting number 11, C11, June 1st, 2011 at 7:35. And have the Pastor Don do our opening prayer, please.
It says in the Bible that God wants us to show justice, show mercy, and walk humbly. So that's what I would like to pray for this council. Gracious God, as we gather, we thank you for these very able and very dedicated council members that give up their time and their energy to support our community. We ask you to give them guidance, wisdom, and enthusiasm as they help us to grow as a community, showing welcome and justice to all people, caring for the needs and the safety of the people in our community and those who visit us, and also help us to walk humbly, realizing that together in this community we are all partners. We work hand in hand, all for the betterment of Strathmore and surrounding areas. I ask you to be in this meeting, give us a clear sense of your vision and your plan, and help us to follow your example in all that we decide and do this night and always. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor Don.
Thank you.
I'd like to mention that only God can decide about how able we are here.
Yeah, well, we know that, but we try.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Adoption of the agenda, any additions or?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councilor Rocky.
Your Worship, that one change in their page 18, the Slave Lake report. Showing Councilor Brockland prepared the following statement. In fact, I did not prepare that statement.
Is that minutes?
You just want that corrected?
If it's of importance, if it's not, we'll leave it where it is.
No, yeah, I made that statement.
Yeah, that's in a minute. Yeah. Okay, additions to the agenda. Councilor Johnson.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councilor Best.
I have nothing.
Councilor Gill.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Councilor Randall.
Slave Lake. Put on maybe even if we put it under 10A or something.
Pardon me?
Under 10A or whatever, it's short.
Administration.
Yes, Your Worship, we have a couple of items. Under item 5.3, which is the utility rates and penalties bylaw, administration is requesting that we remove this item from the agenda, and this is due to further studies being conducted on the commercial rates for this bylaw.
Thank you.
And can we add under 6B, enhanced policing initiative?
6D.
Yes, sir. And
Policing.
policing initiative, enhanced policing initiative. And item 11A, shaping Alberta's future.
Oh, what about the, that's what I was thinking, time capsules. Who's the, do we have to talk about that or is that?
That would come under committee reports for sustainability and time capsule committee.
That sounds like old business.
Very old.
I get it.
But I just wondered if it would be discussed.
Probably under committee reports.
Yeah.
Probably reports, Your Worship.
Thank you. There's nothing further adoption of the agenda.
I would move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Okay, all there's a motion, all in favor? Carried. 3A, May 18th Committee of the Whole Meeting.
I move the committee of the whole meeting 11-12, W10 rather, be accepted.
You all heard the motion, there's no discussion, all in favor? Carried.
I move for the adoption of the May 18, 2011 regular council meeting number 11-C10.
You all heard the motion, if there's no discussion, All in favor? Carried. 3C.
I move the council approves the minutes of the May 25th, 2011 special council meeting number 11-S02.
You all heard the motion, there's no discussion. All in favor? Carried. Delegations, the Strathmore Museum, 4A, page 25. Who's there?
That's me, Your Worship. And I have Mr. Al West here as well, who will be doing a brief oral presentation to the council and mayor. What we're looking for, we have felt for quite a while that the town of Strathmore is big enough that we should have some sort of museum. So I know it's been tried and stopped over the years, and it's gone in different directions. But we're really keen and focused, and our group is really starting to make some good moves as far as videotaping seniors, because they're one of the most valuable assets, and unfortunately we're losing seniors as the years go on. So we're trying to videotape them. With that, we would like to make a brief presentation to council that the museum committee be accepted as one of the town's committees, and that way we feel that the town sponsoring this as a committee, it's very important that Strathmore looks after preserving and presenting its heritage, its culture, and it helps educate the young people of today as well and the young people of tomorrow. So seeing how other towns have actually had and developed museums to be a part of their municipal building, we are hoping that this committee could be seen as and recognized as an actual town committee. And so Mr. Al West is here to make a brief verbal presentation as well.
Thanks, Pat, and Mr. Mayor, and the rest of the councilors. It's a privilege to stand before you tonight and to work with Pat. And this is just a little bit of information that we have extracted from Alberta Museums Association. Do you need a couple here as well? Just in a second. And two. What Pat says, I would just add a couple of points to encourage council in your deliberations. This is the new Strathmore publicity booklet that I just found out about this week, which was really good, and I've had a chance to scan through it. And I read now from page 3 of the new town publicity booklet, and this is reading from paragraph 1. On behalf of myself, Mayor Steve Graychuck, and my fellow councillors, it is, and it carries on from there. This suggests to me that everybody I'm addressing here this evening is aware of what has gone into this pretty well. You know, I won't give commitment, but now I want to read from paragraph 2. Town Council and the citizens of Strathmore have a great deal of pride in our town and truly believe we have a special community. Strathmore offers a multitude of recreational facilities and programs for all ages. Quality shops, restaurants, banks, grocery stores, and other services can be found in our vibrant, safe, and attractive town, where environment, diversity, culture, and heritage all play an important role. And I stress the last phrase, where culture and heritage all play an important role. An ad hoc group of my fellow citizens, including Councillor Pat Fuel, have been meeting off and on for a few months to discuss and research the feasibility of having a museum in our town. The group has a couple of old-timers like me, but most important, the group includes 4 younger members that are interested in identifying and preserving our heritage, probably best done through a community museum. The page I handed to you is a summary page from the Alberta Museum Association website and defines what a museum is or should be. A museum in Strathmore could also provide a venue for local artists, and I refer you to point 4 on the list. It can accommodate non-profit art exhibition galleries. Our group also used the AMA discussion guide, which is a 34-page booklet for information and research and discussion paper. As we talked about it and tried to figure out where are we going. I believe the museum The AME is, I believe, a very good resource tool for any committee that can draw on them for information and direction as to what to do, how do you form a museum, what do you need to do. And I think the museum could also give life to page 11 in this publicity booklet, which says, in brief, and it's just a heading, Strathmore history. That whole page basically draws on our early roots. A museum would just bring that whole page to life. So as I read at the start from the Newtown booklet, Council appears to be interested in our past as well as our future. I would ask Council to authorize the formation of an officially sanctioned committee of the town to further investigate and develop proposals for the formation and development of a Town of Strathmore Community Museum. Any questions?
Thank you. Well put, I think. Any questions? So basically then we're looking for a motion that we have a formal committee set up. Does this count?
Yes, we're hoping that we could present or give a formal motion that the museum committee be accepted as one of the town of Strathmore's committees. Yeah.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Councillor Rambo.
I'm just wondering before we do that whether or not we should be checking with the our AGM or with municipal affairs on how to go about if there are special ways of dealing with societies or museum as far as if there's special status that might be required through the municipal affairs. Yes, thank you.
I respect what you're saying, but I think though, just by kind of getting the ball rolling, I don't think it should affect. We could always change that committee later on, or add to it, or am I wrong?
No, I agree. I think just bringing it on as a committee of the council is non-committal at this point.
Yeah.
And just to point out too, the town of Canmore has a museum committee, and they've added a museum into their brand new municipal building, and one of the councillors sits on the museum committee as well.
I respect what you're saying, Councilor Rambo, but I don't think it's gonna. Do you think there's any harm?
Oh, no, just some thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it has to be looked at a little further, and as to even whether they should become a society or a charitable organization or whatever for specific reasons. But at this point, just as a committee, I don't.
The other thing that I'd like to caution them about is that just because they've become now a town-formed committee doesn't mean that they automatically fit into our budget.
Just the situation. Yeah, good try, Noel.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yeah.
this information booklet, I would, and we just downloaded this, actually, Pat downloaded it, I think, from the Alberta Museum Association's website. And it has a bunch of introductory information in the front of it. I would leave this with administration to peruse it, just maybe to give direction.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I would like to add, though, that I'm very much in favor of starting a museum in Strathmore. We've been working on this for many years. We tried it through the Chamber of Commerce about 20 years ago, and it didn't go anywhere. Hopefully this time it will.
And I would just carry on with, as a quick comment, I just see this as such a, and I've spoken to Councillor Fuel on this before, I just see this as such a great fit with the library, as a partnership with the library, especially with some of the goals that you're going after. And I know it's impossible at this point, and there's not enough space and all that, but I just see those two organizations, the library and the museum, being able to, and I've seen them in other towns, and they just seem to go hand in hand. It's just a really good fit, especially when you start talking about art, exhibitions, etc. So anyway, I have absolutely no problem with accepting this as a committee.
And what Council Rempel is concerned, in directing administration to check out with who it should be checked out with for the legality of it all. Maybe we can always add to it, Councilor Rempel. Yeah. So y'all heard the motion. Do you want to repeat the motion, Councilor?
I wish I could. I would like to move that the town of Strathmore accept the museum committee as an official committee of the town of Strathmore.
Do you need names or no?
Nope, I don't think so.
What, there should be a number of how many members will be on that committee.
Okay.
Less than 300.
Your worship, you would bring forward
Yeah.
a term of reference to the next council meeting for.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's your motion?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Y'all heard the motion. No further discussion. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Public hearing, a C rather, 5C.
Your worship, I would move that council set a public hearing for July 6, 2011 at 7:30 p.m. with procedures in accordance to council procedures bylaw 07-11 and the Municipal Government Act section 230 and amendments thereto.
You all heard the motion? Any discussion? None? All in favor? Carried. Six A, park irrigation information, page 35. Amendment one? Sorry. 5B. Oh, 5B, sorry. Amendment two. Motion to
I move that council give first reading to bylaw 11-17.
Thank you.
Your worship, can we just do one small change?
Small amendment to the, that council refer bylaw 11-17 public hearing schedule. It should say July 6th, not June 7th.
Oh. July 6th?
Yes.
Thank you. You all heard the motion? All in favor? Carried.
I move that council refer bylaw 11-17 to public hearing scheduled for July 6, 2011.
You all heard the motion, any further discussion? Are you going to speak to it?
If you have any questions.
No questions from administration? No comments? None? All in favor? Carried.
Sweet.
Six A, parks irrigation information, page 35.
Good evening.
I was told that, requested to attend this council meeting and answer any questions that you might have with regards to residential irrigation and related to our Parks Department activities. So I wrote up a brief, page 36, just a brief outline of a few of our, I guess you'd say, larger park areas that at one time had access to residential irrigation water. I attached a chart. I think you guys may have seen this before. Jesse probably provided this in some previous information. So it outlines all of our parks in town, irrigation capability, whether it's potable water, non-potable water, metered, and whether you're currently irrigated and possess an area in there. Followed up by 2 maps. First map, I guess you can take page 39. Basically, it shows the park areas in town that at one time or another have had access to residential irrigation water. At the bottom, there's an acreage of that total land. And my understanding is there's some discussion about there was area covered in that map that didn't actually get irrigated. So what we did is, if you look at the next page, we subbed out areas such as Kinsman Lake, parking lots, buildings, structures that were found in those. So just for green space, it shows the acreage plot, 38.71 acres, 43.5 acres. So there's some information, and I guess I was going to answer any questions if you guys have any.
Through the chair to Doug, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it looks like we have like Lambert Park and English Garden, the Devonian Garden, and the Ranch Soccer Field as 3 parks or green space areas that are irrigated with non-potable water. Are they have they been irrigated as long as we've had? Like, were they still being irrigated last year, except for the soccer field, of course, wasn't. But was the Centennial Park, Lambert Park and the Devonian Garden, were they being irrigated last year with non-potable water?
Yes.
Okay, now, and then when we go down the line here, there's areas that are irrigated with potable water. Now, there's Aston Storm Pond.
Yes.
That was irrigated with potable water.
Yes.
And that ABL Park in Cambridge, Maple Garden Park, I counted 13 green spaces or parks that are being watered with potable water, and were they all, in fact, all being irrigated last year or in 2009?
I can't speak to 2009.
Okay, or 2010.
I was new to my position in 2010, so I won't say every space that was able to be watered with potable water was watered. For instance, there's a large green space in Cambridge Glen. It's a storm pond area. That's where the playground is. That has the ability to be watered if it wasn't watered last year. It was by and large, most of the areas that were able to be watered, we did turn the water on, open up the main valve, and watered when required. Last year was quite a wet year, yes. So we didn't water.
How are these parks actually being watered? What means of watering?
Do they have sprinklers?
Yes, they have sprinklers.
All these parks have sprinklers.
Parks that are irrigated with potable water, for the most part, I think in almost every case, I'd have to go through one by one, but all have sprinklers. They're watering.
So we have quite a few parks then that are being watered with potable water.
Yes.
Including some storm ponds.
Yes.
Are you telling us that the Hillview Golf Course, Hillview Broom North and South are have sprinklers? I don't think they have sprinklers, do they?
The stretch of land located between Hillview And the golf course does have capability to be irrigated.
But it's never been irrigated.
We didn't run it last year. These are just all the parts that, when we prepared the list, that actually had the capability to be watered. And the berms the same, we didn't water the berms.
What I'm concerned about, there's capability, and I've been understanding from Jesse that capability varies from a pipe to the park only and actually sprinklers. And then there's a lot of them, I think Councilor Rempel is right, there's a lot of them that don't have sprinklers.
Potable water parks.
Both ways.
What I can ascertain from what I've seen and read, it would be the non-potable parks that would not have sprinklers more than the parks that can be watered with potable water.
Councilor Best.
Your Worship, as I look at this list, I'm looking under irrigation, and if I take away the three that say that's not functioning, we're looking at a better than a 2-to-1 ratio of potable and non-potable water. Are we using that much potable water on our parks?
Well, I came prepared to talk about residential irrigation, so I don't have the information on volumes used. Some of the parks, as you can see, are metered that run off potable water, so we could get that information from those specific parks. I don't have that with me tonight.
Looks like, what, 5? 6?
Meter?
That are metered.
Where do you get 6? Oh, okay. 4?
Potable water, your metered ones right here.
And the majority aren't metered.
36.
Yes.
37.
I understand, maybe we're getting at something, this is not your department. Is it your department or not? Is
The
it?
metering,
Yeah, what parts are watered with irrigation and what are parks?
well, my department's more whether we should water the parks or not. I haven't had a chance to be involved in which parks are watered with potable water versus non-potable water.
Any further questions?
Your Worship.
Yes.
So you're through the chair to, name. Your question to us is whether you should water the parks or not?
Oh, no, no, that's not my question.
Okay, what did I just hear? What did you say a couple minutes ago?
In response to
Maybe the mayor's
question.
Yeah.
I believe the question was, is it my decision which parks are watered with potable water versus non-potable water? But I may have misinterpreted the question.
No, that's fine. I'm more concerned about whether we're doing it on both ends or not. I mean, how much have we been doing?
Well, again, I can only speak to last year. I was told we weren't operating the residential irrigation system in the town. So I requested through Jesse that we were able to operate the one section that irrigated the gardens at the Devonian Garden and Lambert and the English Garden. And he said, yes, go ahead. So that's what we watered.
This afternoon there was one of your big trucks there that you...
That's not the same thing. When he goes with the truck, that's a whole different program, right?
Yes, that's bulk water.
Okay, and they spray water off of that, right?
Yes.
And that's mostly for trees and flowers, is it not?
We use that for newly planted flowers,
Yeah.
gardens, newly planted trees. We'll water trees for a period of 2 to 3 years after the planting, and then we don't water them for dry anymore.
Councilor Fuel?
Oh, no, I just had a quick question. If we were to experience a really hot, dry, extended period, what is the philosophy of the Parks Department as far as watering parks? Do we start doing that ourselves, or do we just let nature take it?
Well, again, it was interesting because last year, my first year, we didn't really have to cross that bridge. But if we did water, we'd water within the guidelines set out to all residents. specific watering times, and water on a need-to-water basis. Some of the potable irrigated green spaces have a battery-powered valve that you can set a timer on, so you can adjust for them to come on and turn off at set times. Otherwise, we would have parks personnel physically go to the park, turn the water on for a set period of time, and then turn the water off.
Councilor Ramble?
Well, I can clearly see that this is on Mr. Park's the position that he has is not to whether which parks are going to be watered with what kind of water. And some of the questions you're asking are better asked of somebody else that makes those decisions. And I appreciate you coming here and filling in for that position, but I also feel for you on this one because I believe I know what your role is and what the role of the other person is in this matter. And so I don't want to ask any more questions on that subject.
So this is just information tonight, basically.
Yeah, and I was under the understanding that I needed to provide some information as it related to the residential irrigation system and how it relates to our parks.
So I guess the only one question I got is that there's 27 parks and green spaces that are hooked up to irrigation. Whether it's hooked up with sprinklers or not, we don't know. But if we didn't do irrigation, those parks would be cut off, right? And green spaces.
Yes, we would have to either find a way to switch them over to potable water or water them with the water truck or leave them to Mother Nature. It's important to point out, I guess, that our watering that we did last year off the residential system was in an effort to water round beds predominantly. I mean, there does happen to be grass in places. The English garden, there's a lot of plant material that's planted there. And same with Lambert Park and then Devonians, it's a garden on the corner of Lakeside and Park Lane Drive. So those are the areas we're watering. We're not necessarily watering grass.
Okay, thank you. I guess we can just take this for the information thing.
I would move.
Yes.
If I can just interrupt here for a second, I think that the driver for this discussion was based out of the last meeting when Councilor Few asked some questions on how we water trees and how the parks gets asked to water trees because there was some concern over us getting trees donated to us from various groups around Strathmore and how those trees are being taken care of. So I think some of the discussion that I think the council wanted to ask Doug was how that watering schedule is taken into consideration.
Yeah, I was just concerned because Communities in Bloom has put in that berth for us. So if there are no irrigation lines because they're broken, how will we be able to make sure that forest gets enough water to keep it going?
Well, we're currently watering the trees that were planted, and I've spoken, I've been in contact with members of Communities in Bloom, and we're going to get the mulch put down there hopefully in the near future, and that will help with water retention. So it's on our list of things to water, and we're doing it with our water trucks.
And as a follow-up to that, now I remember where that conversation went to. This arose as a result of concerns or comments from persons either affiliated or known to the Communities in Bloom that area, that there was concern that this area was being inadequately watered. And my specific question was, that's fine for someone to say that. I would like to hear from somebody with some horticultural experience as to how much water is required and whether or not the town is fulfilling that requirement to ensure that these trees do not die. Do we have a healthy forest being built up there, or are we risking some of those trees because we are not watering enough?
Well, like as I said earlier, we have a plan that we water trees 2 seasons, and then sort of on a per tree basis after that, but understandably, we can't water every tree we plant, every year for the next 10 years. We don't have the capability to do that, but it's been successful. We water them for a few years to get them established, and then they're able to survive on their own.
Okay, I'll put this another way. Has a horticulturist looked at the birth forest lately?
I have.
Okay, and
there's no.
And I'm sorry, I don't know what your criteria, your background is, your ability. Have you got enough of a education and background to tell if a tree is doing okay? Are you worried about the trees in the birth forest?
No, there's a few trees that had a little winter damage.
Yeah.
But, that's more to the species of tree than
Sure.
anything. But no, the trees there are fine.
And Councilor Phelan suggests that if you're really concerned next time about watering, you're not doing nothing between 1 and 5 in the morning, so you can get at it.
Okay, thanks, keep that in mind, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Hackers. Sorry to put you on the spot, but we're going to, it's information only, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Enhanced policing.
Point of order, Your Worship.
Sure.
We didn't vote on that.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
The motion to accept is
Oh, sorry.
To accept as information.
I didn't know I forgot who made that third. I apologize. All in favor? Carried. And thank you for reminding me. Enhanced policing initiative. I believe that was brought up by administration.
Yes, Your Worship, this is just a letter from K Division Operations and Strategy Grant. It's just confirmation that there will be an enhanced policing initiative in Strathmore for the Heritage Days long weekend, July 28th to August 1st, 2011. And we're just asking that council accept this as information.
Any questions?
Having heard that, Your Worship, I would move that we accept this information.
No further discussion? If not, all in favor? Carried. New business. Approval of offer of financing.
Good evening, Your Worship. Good evening.
Good evening.
Included in the 2011 capital budget is the purchase of land. Also included in the budgeting is the borrowing for funding of the purchase of land. Council has passed bylaw 1107 giving authorization for the borrowing. Administration has received an offer to finance the purchase of this land. The proposal is to finance it on a very low rate, 5-year term, 180-month amortization of the loan. Repayment can be made at any time by the town with no penalty. The town is presently at a 53% of the total debt limit set out by the province. This borrowing will increase this 53% to 59% of the total debt limit.
Thank you. Any questions of, Al?
I have one, Your Worship. Well, I noticed that it wasn't in your report, and I don't know if we can bring it up or not, but about the rate that we have this on.
The rate is a confidential rate.
Thank you.
So it's a very good rate.
And I would also just like to make note that this purchase is connected to the sale of some other land that proceeds are not yet received, and thus the reason for the borrowing. But those proceeds are scheduled, correct me if I'm wrong, to be applied to this purchase.
All comments to be duly recorded, please. Any further questions? If not, all in favor?
Oh, Your Worship, I move that council approve the
I thought we were going to do that. No, sorry, okay.
Your Worship, I move that council approve the Chinook Credit Union Limited offer of financing and authorize the mayor and CAO to sign the letter on behalf of the town.
No further discussion, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. 7B, page 40.
Your Worship, that's me, and it was the month of June is my month to select the Citizen of the Month, and I would like to just read a short paragraph discussing who I have chosen. For the month of June, I have chosen as Citizens of the Month the town of Strathmore's many safety patrollers. Strathmore has over 100 grade 5 and 6 students who volunteer to be safety patrollers. These children are Strathmore's youth. They are our sons, our daughters, nieces and nephews. Some may even be our grandchildren. I'm not saying any of you. These students often arrange to get to school early, and they may have to stay late at the end of the day. They work at the patrol stations in all kinds of weather. They help students and families cross busy streets safely, and they are very reliable. They have even gone beyond patrol duties and have volunteered for things like Relay for Life and to fill a bus for our local food bank. On behalf of the town of Strathmore, I would like to commend them for their dedication and commitment. These safety patrollers may be young, but they are definitely outstanding citizens for Strathmore.
Very good. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
In addition there, Councillor Fuel, I believe I heard today there's a whole bunch of them from southern Alberta going to Heritage Days tomorrow.
Yes, there is a big gathering of all the safety patrollers from this area, and they are going to Heritage Park, I believe. And it's an annual big barbecue and award ceremony to celebrate what they've done over the past year.
Excellent. Thank you. Need a motion?
I'll move that council approves the town of Strathmore safety patrollers as Citizens of the Month for June 2011.
No further discussion, all in favor? Carried. No opposed. Committee of the whole, or committee of reports, page 41. No administration. There's nothing in administration. Doesn't mark anything.
The committee reports.
That's it. Economic development.
Yes, Your Worship. To date, we have issued 675 business licenses, 95 building permits, with 23 of those permits being single-family dwellings. The construction value to date is $8,456,662. We have 4 subdivision applications received for 2011 to date, consisting of 2 semi-detached split applications, Wildflower Ranch Phase 2, which is 104 R1 and R1N lots, and 1 commercial property subdivision, which is a Country Lane Mall, and that is to subdivide the existing commercial property and building into 2 separate parcels. And 21 new homecraft office and the home permits have been issued since January 1st, bringing the total number of home-based businesses in town to 160.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question?
Yeah, I just had one question. How does that compare to last year or the year before? What I'm wondering is what type of growth we're having now as coming out of the recession, whether or not we're starting to be viable again.
I don't have the comparables, and my apologies. I can place that information, but I do know that we are ahead of where we were last year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Strathmore Municipal Library Board and Marigold Library Board, Councillor Buell.
Your Worship and Councillors, we met last week. We discussed procedures regarding a continuing problem with the borrower regarding damaged and late returns of books. We read through and discussed and amended policies concerning the duties and procedures of board and staff, and we struck a new subcommittee, which is actually all the members of the existing board, that is going to meet once a month just to focus on possible expansion of the building.
Thank you. But then the Councillor Hamilton, Councillor Blackman.
No meetings have been held since the last one. It should be noted that the union negotiations have now gone to mediation, and we're just waiting for a date to be set by the mediator.
Thank you. Happy game, Councillor Best.
Your Worship, there was a meeting held on May the 9th at 1:15. Discussed was the heavy garbage pickup of the week of May 16th to the 20th. How they may dispose of their yard waste, irrigation, Ridge Road. They were very concerned with the road cleaning and glad to see that we now have that under control. We spoke on the ramp for the curb and that could be done. I had two questions asked me. One was in regards to the bocce courts. They were told last year, I guess, that getting rid of the worms was not possible. But what's happening this year is that the grass is growing substantially on the bocce courts, and they're just wondering if the town could have someone go down and cut that for them. The president had been doing it by himself, and he's certainly not a young man.
Yeah, that's right.
And the other question that they had was to do with downtown beautification. They were just wondering where we're going with that, as it was a commitment by pretty much everyone who ran in the last election to have the downtown beautification done. They're just wondering where we are and what we're doing with that.
We painted the garbage can.
I've seen that.
Next meeting is June the 14th at 1:15 p.m.
Thank you. WFCSS, Councillor Rempel and Councillor Best.
The Weekend Family Community Support Services meeting of May 25th was attended by Councillor Best and myself. Indirect funding request was one of the main topics. Resolution 11-42 had to be approved in order for us to continue with our indirect funding requests. Councillor Best made a motion to approve the budget as presented with total revenues collected of $656,996 and total expenditures of $652,656, and the motion passed unanimously. WFCSS approved funding requests for 18 different organizations for a total of $159,627. United Way also approved funding requests for 9 of those organizations, the same as the WFCSS supplied funds for a total of $45,000. Meals on Wheels are doing an incredible job in our community. In the last 2 months, they delivered 426 meals to people who otherwise might not be able to age in place. Councillor Rempel made a motion that the WFCSS make a donation of $5,000 to the town of Slave Lake through their FCSS, which was approved. And since then, other FCSS boards are also getting involved. That concludes my report. Now, I do have for council perusal, if you want to see which applications and requests were approved by the WFCSS, you can look at them.
Can you give that to administration?
I didn't make copies for everybody. Sure I can.
Thank you, Worship. I'd just like to add one thing to that. On the motion made by Councillor Rempel, the $5,000 to Slave Lake did get passed, but he also made motion that it be on an ongoing basis, because a lot of times when communities like this have this type of disaster, it's not right now that they need all the money. There's times down the road that they do need that, and Councillor Rempel did make that motion that we would do that down the road as well, and I commend him for doing that.
Thank you. Councillor Rempel, at what point were you going to bring up about the extra stuff?
Oh, that's a question from the council.
Okay. Thank you. We've been housing Councillor Best, Councillor Fuel.
Unfortunately, Your Worship, I had to attend to a family matter. I called and was excused from the meeting with best wishes from the CAO.
Your Worship, I was also not able to attend that meeting, but I have spoken with the CAO, and our next meeting is June 17th.
Handy Bus Association, Councillor Open.
Your Worship, Handy Bus meeting was held on May 18th. We discussed at length the type of service that we should be offering. The conclusion was wheelchairs, seniors, and disabled persons. We reviewed and updated policy manuals towards 2011 operating costs. The previous policy was last done in 2006. One example was unit number 801 that goes from Strathmore to Calgary return was getting charged out at anywhere from $56 to $85. We figured out the cost on this trip alone was roughly $180, so obviously we're losing money. It's now getting charged out at $2 a kilometer, so that unit 801 will cost $200 to the company back. Mechanical costs for being closely monitored. Oil changes are being done in certain places in town. Mechanical problems will be done in other places. Wage costs are being closely monitored with regards to part-time drivers and or full-time drivers. Unit 804 is off the road. Insurance is canceled. It's up for sale at $14,000 if anybody's interested. There was a check written back to the town of Strathmore for $17,000 to clear the Handy Bus Association account with the town for 2010. And finally, the first quarter financial sees the association sitting pretty nice for a change. It carries on for the rest of the year.
Thank you. Chamber of Commerce, Councillor Hamilton.
No meeting has been held since the last reporting period.
Agricultural Society, Councillor Fuel.
Just 3 points, Your Worship. The Ag Society agreed to the purchase of 2 utility golf carts up to a maximum expense of $5,000. There's a motion to purchase and install a Wi-Fi network for the campground as well as a grandstand area. That was carried. And Lois Wegner reported that the Heritage Days of admissions and campground rentals are up in comparison to last year's income statement. And that's it.
Family Centre Advisory Committee, Councillor Sobel.
A meeting was held, Your Worship, on May 19th and was well attended by the rink users, as it was also the rink scheduling meeting for the next season. This was an interesting exercise and one that requires and resulted in a great deal of cooperation amongst the different groups. It's once again very obvious that ice is in short supply. With this in mind, I asked the groups whether an unheated pole building covering a new ice surface would be of value, and the overwhelming answer was yes. I also told them that this issue is before council and will be discussed in detail at our upcoming spring workshop. Speaking of generosity, both figure skating and minor hockey gave up some of their ice time in order to allow a charity tournament hosted by the RCMP from January 25th to the 27th, with proceeds benefiting local children under the RCMP Red Coat program.
Thank you. Community Futures, Wild Rose, Councillor Best.
The meeting was held on May the 5th at 7 p.m. Community Futures Alberta Symposium is September the 29th to October 1st, which unfortunately is the same time as AUMA this year. The Community Futures National Board visited, and we're looking for a possible, what we're looking at is a possible 5% reduction in national funding. There will be a Community Futures South Area Chair and Managers meeting on June the 11th in Cochrane, which will be looking into taxation of legal fees. We discussed the ramifications of the federal election results for Western Diversification and Community Futures offices. The board as a whole completed the Board Development Module 5, and the next meeting will be at the annual general meeting held on June the 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Station Restaurant. There will also be a short regular meeting to follow.
Thank you. If anybody's watching, could you text the mayor the score of the hockey game, please?
0-0.
Is it?
That's what I hear.
Oh. He was paying attention
Your Worship.
Thank you. Commissioner of the Room, Councillor Hamilton.
There's no meeting held since the, what do I call it? At the Anglican Church, the community garden. No meeting held since then.
Named Advisory Committee, Councillor Rempel and Councillor Best.
There was no meeting.
Bow River Council, Councillor Hamilton.
No meeting held. Got an easy month so far.
United Way, Councillor Wilkins.
Your Worship, United Way meeting held May 12th. We just finished having 3 investment committee meetings so we could hand out the $45,000, which we did to, I believe, 9 different outfits here. And the right words. Did you want me to go through them again? I brought this up 2 weeks ago, but I can go through them again.
Does anybody want to go through it?
They're on this list. They're in the agenda here.
Yeah, thank you.
And you got them on your list? Okay. Other than that, there was no meeting since.
Thank you. Keller Regional Partnership, I was out of town to attend our last meeting, but I just want to note that, and I believe I'm correct, June 10th, it's going to be held here in Strathmore. But I invite all my fellow councillors to please try to attend it. It's a very interesting meeting. There's a lot of information that's discussed. Please be there 8:30 in the morning. We'll serve you breakfast and lunch, right? June 10th, is that for sure? Yes. Up at the Family Center. So please attend, and lunch also, right? Thank you. SWAT, Councillor Sobel.
A meeting was held on May the 5th, and it was noted that 2 of our members attended the United Way funding meeting and gave a presentation, which has resulted in the awarding of $3,000 for future endeavors. One of those involves the positive ticketing program, which will see peace officers from the RCMP, the town of Strathmore, and Wheatland County issue tickets to youths who are caught, in quotes, acting in a positive manner. They are then awarded a voucher. The kickoff of this program goes tomorrow, Thursday, June 2nd, at the WFCSS building. And council is certainly welcome to attend if they so desire.
Citizens on patrol, Councillor Hamilton.
No meeting been held since the WRA has taken over as interim president.
Financial Audit Committee is only once a year. Centennial Day Time Capsule Committee. Is this one we're discussing?
In regards to Centennial Day, a meeting was held May 2nd and saw the committee visit the Kinsman site in an effort to map out where various events will be staged. Discussions centered around the need to identify and utilize volunteers for July 2nd and 3rd, and these efforts continue. Unfortunately, the local farmers market will be unable to set up on July 2nd due to other commitments. Heritage Times Square Park is starting to take shape with a great deal of cement work, plumbing, and electrical work taking place. According to our project foreman, Linda Pekornik, all is on schedule in spite of the inclement weather and all issues, and there have been many have been or are being resolved. Responsibility for the time capsule that we are going to be planting on July 2nd has now been handed over to Lois Wagner, and it has been decided that the capsule will be situated within a brick pillar, which will be capped with a metal plaque acknowledging the supporters of the park. This does not deal with, but perhaps this is a good time to deal with the other part of the time capsule, which is digging up the old time capsule, if we can find it.
So we have instructed administration to first have it. We think we know where it is, but no one's got any records somehow.
We'll find it, Your Worship.
Thank you. And can you talk to the hospital also and find out what we're doing there? And there's just 2, I understand. Is this correct?
Well, we don't know.
Council Rebel, do you remember?
I didn't even know about the hospital one.
I'm aware of a 3rd one, Your Worship, but I don't think it's due to be opened in 2011.
We must have paperwork on these.
Yes, Your Worship, we'll check the vault for committee meeting minutes.
Thank you. Council Fuel Museum Committee.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for putting me on the agenda so quickly. We wanted to get recognized as a town committee. You councillors did that for me, so thank you very much. Just a couple of quick points. We've been videotaping 2 more seniors for the museum, and we have a goal to try to have a museum within 2 to 3 years. So there you go.
Thank you. GC Arts and Recreation Foundation, Council Solo.
There was no meeting held to date.
Hope Bridges Society, Council Solo.
And I have not attended any meetings on that as well, Your Worship.
Thank you, and if no questions, someone move.
I think there's one. Oh, I'm sorry, pardon me.
Is there one more?
No.
I would move to accept the committee reports as information.
No further questions, all in favor? Carried. Ken A. Slave Lake Council of Rental, I believe.
Well, I had prepared a statement for the last council meeting that I was hoping would go into the paper. And, but anyway, our hearts go out to the people of Slave Lake. Many of them have not only lost their homes and everything they had, but lost their jobs as well due to the raging fire that swept through their town. We want to extend our feelings of sorrow to the people of Slave Lake that in some cases have lost everything that they ever worked for. Since then, there is more information that has been forthcoming of communities that are donating funds. Some are donating items of clothing and other items of necessity that these people will require. We, through the WFCSS in Strathmore, donated $5,000 to the Slave Lake FCSS, and the town of Nanton, they're forming an advisory group to start taking donations that would be distributed on a timely basis. I'm not suggesting that we throw a hat in the ring. I believe that we can start our own. We are a community of significant size. A lot of donations are made in the form of checks, and I believe that through the WFCSS and the town of Strathmore, we can do a lot to help this community that has suffered great loss in the last month here. And I just hope that our volunteer organizations, service clubs, and that will come together and help this cause, and that together we can do great things for Slave Lake.
Thank you, Councilor Gold.
Councilor Rebel, are you aware of any organization that's actually collecting items other than cash, other than money? Anybody collecting? I understand that we have a number of articles that have been turned into the town here. It'd be nice to get that to an organization that is designed to get that up north.
Trinity Lutheran Christian Academy had a one-day open house there for donations to be dropped off. They collected a lot of donations, and Highway 9 have offered to transport those donations up to Slave Lake. Just when that'll happen, I don't know. But and those goods that were just being discussed that the town of Strathmore have received might very well be able to go along with that.
So maybe we should get a hold of.
And that is done, and that, by the way, is done through the Canadian Red Cross.
Okay, great.
Because they apparently are the people on the ground there that are making decisions as to where the donations go.
Well, might I suggest if we could confirm that Trinity is accepting this, we might be able to tell the people who are bringing the stuff, continue to bring stuff to transported directly there if they're going to continue accepting.
Yeah, we don't know that.
I was told that they're not, but anyway, that's clothing only, but anyway, let's confirm though that, we can get our stuff to them. How do we do that? Who's handling this?
We can set up our own, advisory group to do that if we so choose. Or we can, piggyback onto other, maybe the WFCSS here or with another municipality or however we want to choose to do it.
I'm concerned about the present stuff you have now, Councilor Bo. Where is it? Does anybody know?
Yes, we're going to worship it here at the town office.
And who's gonna get it over to Trinity?
If they will accept it.
If they will accept it.
If they accept it.
It's my understanding that they're still accepting some donations. I've got a good contact over at the church, which is actually my wife.
So you're handle it?
I'll discuss it with her and see if maybe she can pencil us in, hopefully. So.
Okay.
If there's room in the garage.
That's right. I'll make a formal request on that.
And for the record, for the paper, are we accepting money for them or cash money or checks? Or how is that working?
What did we decide at the WFCSS last time that we were going to handle? We would handle donations of monetary donations.
Monetary donations.
Through the town or?
WFCSS.
WFCSS.
So go directly to that.
Yeah.
Okay, is that for the record for the paper, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Any questions? More questions?
I'm assuming, did you say Highway 9 was gonna transport this up there?
Fairly.
That's
So
what I heard.
Yeah, so they'll probably wait until they have a full trailer.
Well, yeah, but they'll go from community to community to load it, so they will.
Okay, very good, very well put. Thank you, Councilor Randall. 11A, administration, you had a invitation.
Your worship, the Airdrie Chamber of Commerce is hosting a panel discussion with members of the Premier's Council for a discussion regarding shaping Alberta's future. Council, CAO, and Deputy CAO have been invited to attend this event on June 23rd, 2011. Registration must be completed by June 10th, 2011, and the registration is limited to 200 guests. And we're just asking for council to advise administration if anybody would be interested in attending this. And you do have a sheet there for information.
Did I hear right, administration only, or was it?
No, it was for council, mayor and council, CAO and deputy CAO, the individual ministry.
Does anybody want to attend?
And it's an economic strategy report, that's what it is. Not participation.
If my schedule's open, I probably would go.
Would this be appropriate to send Milton?
Probably.
How soon do they have to?
I'm just talking aloud here.
We have to register
It's
by
an idea
June
with
the 10th.
economics.
Can we talk it over with our, with Dwight and Mel?
Absolutely.
But I would be interested in going if it's appropriate. Thank you. So you'll keep us informed?
Yes, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anything further?
Worship, I just have one question.
Yes.
The street sweeping that's taking place,
Yes.
what happens to the gravel they pick up?
Goes to our recycle yard and they
recycle it.
It does get recycled?
They screen it.
the Ag Society always wants it. There's people requesting it all the time and we use it also.
Is that something new, Chuck? Because last time that was raised, they said it was unable to be.
Parts of it can be like the large debris that comes out. Like there's always a health issue.
So it is being screened though, eh?
That's my understanding. I can double check and report back.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago that this was raised, and we thought it would be a great recycled product, but for some reason at that time, they were unable to do that.
There was a bit of a health issue
Yes.
with hypodermic needles and,
Yes,
and
exactly.
biohazards, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what the science behind it is to make it recyclable.
Okay.
But that's my understanding that it's being recycled somehow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? None?
Move to adjourn.
Y'all heard the motion? All in favor? Carried.